I just want to note that I was able to remember how it felt. Now, if one thinks that there could be no understanding and obeying the order without a previous teaching, one thinks of the teaching as supplying a reason for doing what one did, as supplying the road one walks. Remember the meaning of the tree body, that is an unfolding of lightning into patience. The revelation of the lightning capacity right in the flesh of patience. Remember the true nature of this body. Like that exact force of faith, that exact, like immediate, intelligent, explosive desire, exchange, dialogue. Now there is the idea that if an order is understood and obeyed, there must be a reason for our obeying it as we do, and in fact a chain of reasons reaching back to infinity. The way one attains the capacity of will in such a body is the ground of patience. The way one can enter into the nature of this tree body is through the revelation of the lightning, the grounds of patience. Functional, the ground of the irreversible. This is as if one said, wherever you are, you must have got there from somewhere else, and that this tree has the sap of lightning. This tree has the sap of lightning. And to that previous place from another place, and so on ad infinitum. This tree is the liquefied motions of lightning. This tree, this is my gift. On the other hand, the gift you had that I want to give, wherever you are, you could have got there from another place 10 yards away, and to that other place from a third 10 yards further away, and so on ad infinitum. This explosive, intense desire of faith. I do not want to be a hypocrite. To know that we walk like the architectures. I know the taste of my revelation, and I want to stand in it. I want to with the architecture be evanescent, brutally, sharply. These things if you had said so this, you would have stressed the infinite possibility of making a step. We have no fucking clue. Thus, the idea of an infinite chain of reason arises out of a confusion. There are such precious chemistries of statements, precious chemistries of all of these. Made of shards of geometries. These blades made of shards of multiple geometries. That a line of a certain length consists of an infinite number of parts because it is indefinitely divisible, because there is no end to the possibility of dividing. They can walk together. Produce to collect the necessary aluminium milk. They walk together so as to produce the ecstasy in the ground that will provoke this aluminium milk. This is how they walk. Wasted realm. If, on the other hand, you realize that the chain of actual reason has a beginning, you will no longer be revolted by the idea how they walk. There is no reason for the way you obey the order. At this point, however, another confusion sets in, that between reason and cause. One is led into this confusion by the ambiguous use of the word why. Thus, when the chain of reasons has come to an end, still the question why is asked, one is inclined to give a cause instead of a reason. What is the difference between dreaming it, wanting it? Why did you paint just this color when I told you to paint a red patch? You give the answer.
Is this rage of generosity?
I have been shown a sample of this color and the word red
There is a difference between thinking it,
was pronounced
it,
to me at the
wanting
same
it,
time, and
dreaming
therefore this
it,
color now always comes to my mind when I hear the word
acting
red.
it.
Then you have given a cause for your action and not a reason.
When it's true love, it's devastating.
The proposition that your action had
True love,
such
it's
and such
devastating.
cause is a hypothesis.
This
The hypothesis is well founded if one has had a number of experiences which, roughly speaking, agree that your action is the regular sequel of certain conditions which we then call causes of the action.
Spasms of
In order to know the reason which you had for making a certain statement,
loses their own
way,
faith in of true love.
no number of agreeing experiences is necessary.
Thorough unity, the
And
force
the
of
statement
Standing the possibility of an architecture that just springs from this
when
ground.
the loved one,
The difference between the grammars of reason and cause is quite similar to that between the grammars of
ground of
emotion
this
and cause.
drive and this desire.
Of the cause, one can say that one can't know it, but can only conjecture.
Give us this generosity.
On the other hand, one often says,
how do I get to
surely I must know why I
start
did
doubt my faith?
Talking of
Functional, like the team is functional. Come on. Give them the bodies that
we
you
can
need.
only
Why
conjecture
wouldn't
the
you
cause,
do
but
that?
we know the motive. This statement will be seen later on.
We
to be a
continuously
grammatical
delete
one.
what is unbearable
Can
from our
refers
side.
to a logical
We continuously delete what is unbearable.
We walk on this ground.
The double
ground
use
is
of the
a
word
certain
why,
type of
asking for the cause and asking for the motive, together with the idea that we can know and not only
Ugliest,
conjecture
the
our
darkest,
motives,
the ugliest.
gives rise to the
There is a
confusion that the
family
motive is a cause of
experience.
which we are immediately aware.
Because
Cause
when
seen
you
from
know
inside
This is
or
how we
cause
walk
experienced
together. This is the nature of this walking
Why?
together.
the calculation by which we
Besides,
have arrived at a certain
This
result.
is the nature of walking together.
and you know that you stand
Let
in
us go
revelation,
back
you
to
know
the
that you stand
statement
in
that thinking
true faith and
essentially
true
consists
commitment. You
in
know
operating with
love,
science.
sorrow, with all of your being.
My
Remember
point
that with the
was that
prayer,
it is
the
liable to
continuous
mislead
prayer,
us.
I
If we say
feel it,
it,
I want it,
know I have
I
mental
taste it.
Christ, work
the question what kind of an activity thinking
ecstatic
is,
exchange of intelligence
I
analogous to this.
act it.
Where does thinking take
I
place?
act it.
honor the
answer
pain.
on paper, in our
This is
hands,
the-
in the mind.
Give them the bodies they need.
None of
Act.
these statements of locality.
This is the missing link.
The use of all these specifications is correct, but we must
Right
not
into
be
the
misled
flesh
by
of
the
it.
similarity
Come on,
of their
why was it
linguistic
so
form
mutilated?
into a false
So,
conception of their
Eli,
grammar.
there is this fucking passion.
As
Wow!
Right in the flesh of
surely
solitude.
the real place of
Right
touch
in the
is in
flesh of the most ordinary.
Shock.
The
Right
same
in the
applies
flesh
to
of
the
the
idea of
most
thinking as an activity.
Right in the flesh of
It
the
is
most
correct to say that thinking is an activity
ordinary.
of the writing hand,
There is
our
no such
larynx,
thing as
our
the
head,
discipline
and our
of
mind,
adequate act.
so long as we understand
There
the
is
grammar.
not yet any infrastructure for
And it is furthermore extremely important to realize how, by misunderstanding the grammar of our expressions, we are led to think of one in particular of these statements as giving the real seat of the activity of thinking.
Burns, it boils right now. The way in which
There is an objection to saying that thinking is
what
some
do I
such thing
become
as an
if I
activity of the
stand
hand.
in front of the flesh of the killer? Or
Thinking, one wants to say, is part of our private experience.
there is this.
It is not material, but an event in private consciousness.
Remember the case. Where are you?
This objection is expressed in the question, could a machine think?
Where are you? How it feels. The taste. See the point. How
Could
it
a
feels.
machine think?
Oh, how
I shall talk
long
about this
for
at a
the
later
revelation
point,
of such a life.
and now only refer
Oh,
you to
how I
an
love
analogous question.
you.
Can a
Oh,
machine
how
have
I
toothache?
longed for the true earthquake of a
You will
revolution
certainly
of
be
a
inclined to say
orgasm
a machine
of
can have a
existence.
toothache.
truly.
All I will do now is to
Earth
draw your
just gonna
attention
stand
to this
down.
which you have made of the word can.
Okay, watch
and
these
apple.
trees moving.
Did you mean to say that
to
all our
observe
past
the
experience
substance
has
of
shown
the
that
night, and I
never had
mutilate
to
this vow that I will
The way
remember
love
gets
The
mutilated, vain
impossibility
that
of
I
which you
will
speak
remember
of
the
is a
ecstasy
logical one.
and to be fierce. I
stay
will
awake.
commit
The
to this
impossibility
vow
of
to
which
give
you
them
speak
voice,
is a
to
logical
give them
one.
voice,
To
not
make them
forgetting
present,
it.
to make them act. The question is,
architecture
what is the
of
relation
life.
aware of its possibility.
This is how I stand.
Yes,
This is the
all the
architecture.
has
shared experiences, all the
I shall say no
This
more
is-
about this now.
think of
The architecture. This
all of us who just
is-
live experiences. I have been
This is the architecture.
impossible, very
What?
will be seen and
The anatomy of an attained date.
I want to establish this
The
static
anatomy
life
of a
in which
day. The anatomy of the purpose of a day.
thoroughly broadcast, to feel that my flesh is the very fabric of memory,
The
the very
profound, complex anatomy of a mission.
all is seen, all is shared, all is received, all is
The
loved.
taste of a clarified function. The taste
Love is destroyed
of an
and
architecture of function.
the active truth
The
that all of
taste
us simply we are together, we are
acting
loving,
the taste
we are never apart.
of a clarified architecture of function.
Yes, this is my
It is the
my
taste
revolt, this is my revolution, that I will
clarified.
give her the encouragement,
It
the
is
reality possible that will be a cure
Taste of a clarified architecture of
pains
function. A subtle
returned
narrative desire, a subtle
discouraged, and I felt like
morphology of narrative
I wasn't there.
fabric.
You will make them real, and I will produce the necessary adventures. She got discouraged and she threw away. I will make them real, and I will produce the desire.
This is a
The adventure that will
trans-temporal life. That is
I will produce
the capacity to produce
all long for. I shall
necessary
remember how it
morphologies of
felt,
exchange
what it
or
was.
necessary
I shall remember what it
arborescent
was.
dialogues between
The storytelling, the promise, the force of
modes of being,
storytelling.
between
How it felt.
morphologies
I
of
shall attain the
shape
swarm
life to
body, the conquer a totally new life.
This is the
The very fucking
non-dual
thing
capacity for
of
storage.
becoming, of making
To
it
produce
functional.
these
To make it functional is to
choirs, or
establish it in
these
its meaning. To establish
Yes, I
it
will
in
remember
its meaning. The swarm. And I will purify and
symphony.
swarm capacity. So all becomes so hungry for that acid taste and understand perfectly how love gets mutilated, and then you are awakened into this travel, this joy of liberation. It's like breaking chains. This is throughout your whole paralyzed body. This is why I need. This is where is my tendency of. I shall establish a reality in which we are all together, full love. One needs to listen thoroughly to their body. Establish this reality. The body holds as revelation as together. Shift of world when you embrace something
So
impossible.
clarify this. You say you desire
A revelation of a new dimension. A
architecture.
revelation when you establish confront pain, find radical friends with when you confront the higher friends, the vast, all of its friends that will help me core belief, establish this new order of reality. Then unlocking that all of these equations, I will give voice. Error
You say
will
that
come
you're
with its
long
pains I
for
can
it.
touch. I will give voice.
So
Revelation,
there is a
the
certain
new
voice
dimension of
for
freedom. A new dimension of freedom.
You have a certain
Unspoken
level of
pains.
feeling the
Shocking,
drive and
impossible.
somehow the imagination.
This is the rapturous body, the rapturous body. Come on.
The body will produce
Swarming.
the kind of structure that it lungs.
Greed,
Body will naturally produce
the swarming greed for this taste of mutilation. How it felt, I remember how it felt too.
Stable
Search for a home, for a new house. So swift so as to for the project,
birth
the language of
architecture from the very ground.
Remember
The birth of a possible architecture of such a story. It feels like
really
skyscraper being born from
like a failure.
Freshly plowed ground.
And it's so unbelievable to just like, what is it? How is it possible that we can't remember how we used to talk about Mary Magdalene?
Deliver the equations of earthquakes.
We shall give them the bodies like
so
this.
Clear.
Yes.
We walk together in appropriate acts. We walk together seeding appropriate.
My flesh of desire, I shall be honest in this way. I enter this process, which is come here for very coherent architecture of a story, narrative, revelation, alignment. I know the whole nature of it right now.
Seeding.
How I need to establish this discipline because I stand responsible in front of my daughters, in front of activity, and I am pierced by the
act on the subtle
nature
earthquakes of
inspired, the purity of a child.
the real revolution.
Don't we have the right to
acting on the
ask? Don't I have the right to ask?